Friends, welcome. There is a huge smile on my face. I hope you have one too, because today's lesson is just incredible. Friends, it's one of the most important lessons of the course. Let's get started, friends. To emphasize the importance of this lesson, I'll start by quoting Mark Twain, whose words go as follows. There are only two most important dates in a person's life. The first is the day they are born. The second is the day they find out why. Today in this lesson, we will be discovering why we were born, and just how important that is. Yes, and I think this is the most important thing that has ever happened in our lives. Today, we will be discovering the reason behind the second most important day of our lives. Maybe some of you already know your why. Maybe some of you will be able to clarify your why even more. And maybe some of you will discover it from absolute scratch. Friends, let's get started. Before we move on to the lesson, let's figure out why do we need to find our why. Why? Okay, as always, let's do this at the start of the lesson. Let's take a look, friends. Number one, it's an endless source of energy. We could just put a period right there. I think an endless source of energy is important enough to keep moving forward. But let's continue. An endless source of energy. What does that mean? As the saying goes, energy comes from mission. First and foremost, your main source of energy. Your main source, where do you draw from? That resource is your mission. If you don't have a clear, specific mission that inspires you, then, friends, it will be hard to find energy. But if you do have it, a clear, specific mission that inspires you, then, friends, no matter how you feel, no matter what's happening in your life on different fronts, you can always return to your mission and draw inspiration from it. It's like a cheat code. This mission of yours is a source of endless energy, and living by it is the only way to unlock your potential. There are countless fields in the world where you can realize yourself. I could have been a fitness club trainer. I could have been a manager at McDonald's. I could have been anyone. There are count fields where you can realize yourself, and many stages at which you can stop. But if you develop and first and foremost build on your mission on your own, but then what's the point? Not only that, you won't be able to stop. You won't get bored, and it will never be enough for you. At a certain stage, you won't think, yeah, I am tired. Maybe it's time to slow down. No, your mission, thanks to its endless energy, will keep pushing you further and further towards even greater achievements, a more interesting life every day, every single day. That's the key. That's the only way to unlock your potential because you have no chance of stopping. Endless energy that is fueled by your mission. It makes you constantly open up, always look for new facets of yourself, always develop, always learn something new, move forward, become better, reach new heights, and impact more people. That's what your mission and understanding your why gives you. Number three, a way to get rid of internal resistance. What do I mean? Why can't a person find peace until they've found their mission, until they've discovered the meaning of that depth, their own why? Why can't they ever calm down? Because there is always a voice inside saying, there is a mission, bro, you were created for something greater. You weren't made just for this. I feel like you can do more. I feel like you can be even better. I feel like there is something inside you that's still there, something unrealized, something not yet revealed. It's still sitting inside you. Let's open it up. Let's work on it. Let's find it. Let's unlock this potential. This voice is inside you, and that's why no matter what you do, no matter how much you earn, you work. Let's say you went and graduated from university because, for example, your parents sent you there, and after university you got a job. You work in this direction. You keep grinding, and it doesn't matter how much success you've achieved there, what status, what income, or level of freedom, none of those things really matter. If you feel that your mission isn't being fulfilled, that voice, that inner resistance will always be there. That's exactly why point number three is about finding your mission. You get rid of your inner resistance. You have no blocks at all. You know, yes, that's right. This is my mission now. I have to dedicate everything. All of myself, everything I have, my energy, my resources, my freedom, my time. I am ready to devote all of this to fulfilling this mission. And because there is no resistance, you are ready to gather all of yourself in synergy and direct it toward fulfilling this mission, my friends. Why is this needed? This is power. This is number three. I am telling you, friends, I have goosebumps. That's how important this is. That's how important this is. Number four, a way to change the world. Just a way to change the world. Nothing special, friends. Because when you find your mission, when you live at the peak of your energy, when you are inspired, when you are passionate about what you do, about how you live, It inspires, it energizes. You are able to create your best work, your best products. You are able to forge from yourself that best version of yourself, which being in this world will not be able to create products that help inspire people to greater achievements, inspire people to a better life, to a more fulfilling, more satisfying, more happy life. It is precisely because of this that you will be able to change the world. This is number 4. Number 5, it is to open up your true life. A true life is when you live at the peak of your energy, when you unlock your potential every day. It's when you work without inner resistance, where nothing is holding you back. And how are you able to change all of this? The world, my friends. That's why we need to define our mission, my friends. It's quite important, quite a significant lesson. So, let's quickly move on to how to do this. Let's go. So friends, let's start having fun. To help you find your purpose today, we'll look at 2 patterns. Number 1 is the classic Ikigai scheme. But first, we will look at the levels. Why? What are the reasons for which they exist? Because what is it anyway? Why? Why is this? Why are you doing something? Why do you live? Why do you wake up and do something? And the thing is, everyone tries to find their super global why. But first and foremost, it's important to understand that each of us has our own why. It doesn't matter who you are. Every person on the planet has their own why. The first level of why, where a huge number of people live, is survival. Why does a McDonald's worker go to work? Do they like it? Does it inspire them? Does it fill them with energy? Most likely no. They go purely for survival. They need money to buy food and pay the bills. Why does a taxi driver get in the car and work 18 hours straight? Most likely for the same reason, survival. Ask him, "Why are you doing this, buddy?" He'll tell you, "Bro, back in my homeland, I have a family. I have a wife. I have kids. I work. I send them money. I help them live there to survive." Survival, my friend. That's the first level of why. Is that the only why? A huge number of people live at this level. It's the first level, the survival level. Almost everyone starts from this level. But the sad thing is that a huge number of these people, a vast majority, stay at this survival level. But there is a percentage of people who go further. The second level is status. Status comes into play when, and for example, you've worked at McDonald's for a year and a half or 2, and then you notice that one of your friends who also started at McDonald's is already a manager there and has bought himself a cool car. Someone else graduated from university and started working in their field. Someone works in a cool office and has already bought a BMW and an apartment, took out a mortgage, and so on. They already live in their own place and enjoy life and style. And you start thinking, that's enough of just surviving. I want that too. I want status. I want a decent, cool, prestigious job. I want a car. I want an apartment. I want to take vacations like that too. Boom. You move up to the second level. Your why transforms. Now, you are no longer interested in just surviving like when you had just moved out from your parents' place. You used to need at least some money to buy food, to rent at least some kind of place to live, just to get by, to pull yourself through that stage. But now you've moved past it. So I want things to be a bit tougher. This is how I see it. This is level 2. Status. Your why transforms again. And that's why you leave your job at McDonald's and move to an office. You learn some kind of specialty, you pick up some knowledge, you find an office job, you buy yourself a car, you buy yourself an apartment. It seems like you start going on vacations. It seems like you've already raised your status, but now you have a mortgage, your car is on credit. Your job is starting to wear you down. It's already the 5th, 6th, 7th year, and everything is starting to get old. And at this stage, you might develop a new why. Why? Some people stay at the status stage. And so they keep competing with their neighbors. But some people think further. Okay, so status, I've already achieved it. But status has made me some kind of slave. I want more. I want freedom. I want to be my own boss. Not to work somewhere where I am constantly stressed, where I am not valued at all. I want to be my own boss. I want to have freedom to manage my time the way I want to. I want to live anywhere in the world, not be tied to this job in this city. I want to live here. I want to live there. I want to live over there. You develop a new need. I want freedom. Here, you get a new why. I hustle. I work. I start new ventures. I learn new skills in order to become free. You hustle. You work. For example, you leave the office, you go freelance. Now you work as a freelancer. For example, you create websites to order, or you do some design work or programming, or you started a small company, a small business, and gained the freedom you wanted. Now you work for yourself. There is no boss standing over you. And at this stage, when you already have freedom, you can manage your own time. You can rest whenever you want. Basically, at this point, you don't need to worry about survival for your status. You have enough resources. At some point, you just think, okay, I am tired of all this. Tired of making money. Tired of hustling with these businesses. Tired of doing this freelancing. Just tired of it all. I want to have even more time to do what I love. The things I enjoy, the things that ignite me, the things that inspire me, the things I was created for by my calling. And at this stage, you come to number 4 to finding your calling. And if you have enough strength, ambition, and motive to go from the first to the second, from the second to the third, and from the third to the fourth, then, for example, at stage 29, 35, 41, 52, 59, you will reach the 4th stage where you stop and say, wait, let's focus on our calling, our purpose. In other words, you were taking the long path from top to bottom, going through each stage with every stage taking up a huge amount of time. And this model of the levels of why is very similar to and really echoes the idea that you finish school, go to university, graduate, start working, work for 40 years, save up for retirement, and then at 60, you finally start living. You start living doing what you love. Who wants to live like that? I think no one does. Everyone would dream of truly starting to live right now. And friends, there is a way to do this. The way to do this is to start not from the top down, but from the bottom up. Start with your mission, start with your calling, start with your deep why. Because by starting from the bottom, by starting with your calling, you can get all these things. It is at this stage that we move on to the Ikigai table. Ikigai is a Japanese word that means purpose. It's simple. We're only talking about one thing here. According to this scheme, your purpose is found as follows. You take what you love, you take what you are good at, you take what the world truly needs, and you take what people are actually willing to pay you for. And by carefully taking a piece from each of these important aspects right here at the intersection of all these overlapping circles, you get your Ikigai, which is your purpose, your reason for being, the thing that gives your life meaning and direction. That is your purpose. Your deep why is a combination of these things. If we intersect it with our levels of why, what do we get? Something interesting. Number 1, survival. When you are interested in survival, according to this model, you are only interested in one thing, getting paid. You are interested in where you will get paid. You don't care what the world needs. Whether someone needs it or not, it doesn't matter to you. You don't care whether you know how to do it or not. I'll learn, I'll come, I'll learn, they'll teach me. And you don't care whether you love it or not, all you need is to get paid. That's level 1. That's the survival level. Next, how do you move from survival to level 2, to status? Which of the squares do you connect? Which of the circles do you connect? You connect what you know how to do, because in order to get a job in an office, in order to change your specialty, you need to acquire some skills and gain new knowledge. Knowledge. That's exactly why you study design, programming, accounting. It doesn't matter which field you study it. And that's why, at the starter stage, you combine what you know how to do with what you get paid for. So you come to the office, you say, I can do this, and they start paying you for it. The job is more prestigious and you've raised your skill level because at the first stage you just need to get paid. When you start working at McDonald's, you don't need to know anything. They'll teach you everything, and it's the same with any low-paying job. You don't need to know anything there. That's why it's low-paid, because people are easily replaceable. Any other person who also doesn't know anything can come in and replace you. If you are not willing to work for that amount, someone else will be, because you don't need any skills for it. Next, at the status stage, if you want to move up, you need to gain skills. You need abilities. You acquire them, you learn them, and you move on to a new stage. At the status stage, you earn more. You can afford a car, maybe some travel, an apartment, and you operate within these two areas. What happens next? You want to move further. You need freedom. At the freedom stage, you need to add a third element. The third sphere, the third circle, is the direction of what the world needs. Because if you want to start your own company, if you want to launch some small business of your own, if you want to start freelancing, doing something remotely for someone, you need to understand what people need, right? You used to work in an office, you were a designer, you understand that people need website covers, people need code, or if you worked as a pastry chef, you realize, okay, people need cakes for birthdays, so I can bake cakes for them. You understand what people need, and based on that, using your skill bills, you find what people are willing to pay you for. That's how you move into freedom, into business, into freelancing, into working for yourself. Next, when you reach the freedom stage, you've already used 3 circles from the table and Ikigai. You are the file. Finally, you come to the realization that something is missing. Something essential is lacking. You want to do what you love, what inspires you, and not just chase after survival anymore. The pursuit of status, even the pursuit of freedom itself, none of that impresses you anymore. None of it inspires you. You want some kind of deep fulfillment. And when these thoughts come, that's when you are ready for the 4th stage of your calling. In order to find your calling, you need to connect to it. The 4th circle, and the 4th circle is about what you love. At this stage, you come to realize, wait, the whole point is to do what I love, so that it's not just about carving out 3 hours on a weekend when everyone finally leaves me alone and I can do what I like. The whole point is to make what you love the foundation, and then on this foundation of your love of what inspires you, of what you enjoy, you can build everything else to develop your skills and knowledge in this direction. Then determine what people need based on what you enjoy. Next, combine the knowledge and skills you've gained from what you love. And by understanding what people need in this field, bring all of this together into 3 circles to earn an income from your favorite activity. And from here, it turns out that working on each circle is based on the main circle. This is what you love, and having this as your foundation. First of all, everything will come much easier to you learning, searching, and earning income. Number 2, you have much more potential for growth and income. And number 3, you enjoy yourself every day, every minute, every second. You get pleasure from it because you are working on what you love. And in this way, by building your life system, starting from the bottom, from your calling, and from what you love, adding all these 4 circles, in the end, you feel all 4 circles. You arrive at your Ikigai, at your purpose, at your calling, at what is most important to you. You have hacked life. You have reached the most important thing you need to reach in life. You have come to the 2nd most important day in your life. You have understood your why. Now, friends, do you get it? I presented it in an incredibly visual way. Why is it so important to find what you love first and foremost? Now, let's move on to how exactly you can do this specifically for you. Let's go.